Apologizing as a parent, it can definitely be difficult at times, but we must learn to put our ego aside. We have to. As parents, we don't really lose respect apologizing. We actually build trust. And that's the main thing that we forget a lot. It shows our strength, not weakness, and it creates that emotional safety net as well. And overall, it keeps the communication open. So that's what's very important. So in this vlog, we're going to discuss, as far as a parent, and how we can make it right as parents by apologizing. Simply starting with, I'm sorry. Very important. We'll start with yelling over frivolous things. A lot of times we don't realize we come home from a long day. We may be frustrated, something has bothered us, but our kids, they don't know that. They just want our time. They want to be loved on, or they want to play with us. They want to talk to us, and we'll take our frustration out on them sometimes. And we'll do it sometimes without even apologizing. So we're going to discuss how we can turn those wrongs into right. We want to make it right. We're not perfect parents. The reason for raising humans together so we can all learn together. So we're going to learn off each other and learn from one another. But you have to realize as well, as parents, we have to manage our emotions. We have to. Kids don't deserve our frustration sometimes that we put on them. And a lot of times we just have to say, hey, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have raised my voice. I shouldn't have lashed out at you like that. I'm going to do a better job. Simple things like that can go a long way, and they do go a long way. Missing moments that matter. Of course, games, dance recitals, your kid, wanting your attention to show you something. And a lot of times we kind of just like brush it off, not realizing how important that is. Just learning to apologize. And again, it starts with a sorry. I wasn't fully present when you needed me. I'm going to do better. Simple apology is that. It's going to happen. We're not perfect parents. It's going to happen. So just a few plays and strategies that we can utilize to assist right that wrong, for our kids. Another one, accusing them before knowing the full story. It's huge with me. Huge as me. I've learned and I've grown over the years, but we normally react before listening. And we assume instead of asking questions. We have to do a better job at that as parents. We have to. It's because it's different sides of the story. And we have to understand that sometimes we don't have the full story. And I'm notorious for that. I'll blow my top like, what happened? What's going on? And not knowing the full story. And sometimes I've had to eat my words. And I've told my son, I stand corrected. I shouldn't have done that. Accusing you without, knowing the full story. But a simple fix. Sorry, I was wrong for blaming you, and without hearing the other side of the story. Very simple fix. These are small things that we may think that's not important, but our kids, they see us and they notice us. They notice the small things. We just want to right the wrong, and we're not perfect parents, but these are some things we can do to bridge that gap as well. Breaking our promise, telling our kids we're going to take them somewhere, tell them we're going to spend time with them or conduct an activity with them. And sometimes life happens, life be lifing. You know how it goes in adults. And I still remember those things as kids, as my uncle telling me, hey, I'm going to pull up on you guys. I'm going to come by and get you. My dad, my grandparents as well, my grandpa. I know they were probably just living life. It's no slight to them, but we don't realize how that affects us. I remember that to this day, the times where I was told, hey, we just sitting out the window looking, wait, man, I wonder is Aunt coming. And the mom's like, oh, he'll be here. Next thing you know, it's 10:30, 11. Mom's like, you need to go to bed, or I know you tired, go to bed. Aunt coming, we just know Aunt coming. That's all we know. And we can't wait. And the next day go by, you don't hear nothing. Nothing. So I said to myself, I kept that promise. I'm not gonna be that. I'm not gonna be that uncle. I'm not gonna be that father. It's just amazing how sometimes your tragedies can turn to triumphs. And I've used all the things that I didn't like happening to me when I was a kid to make me a better person. And you'd be surprised how our kids hold on to our every word. And that's why sometimes I just have to watch what I say around my kids, especially my little one. Because if I tell him something, he not gonna forget. He gonna hold you to it. Hey, Dad, remember you said you was gonna make me that smoothie? I'm like, man, I forgot. And you know what? If I gotta stop what I'm doing, I'll make that smoothie because we owe him that, and we want to lead by example. We definitely want to lead by example. But it's simple. Make that call. It's simple. Make the phone call and say, you know what? I didn't ignore you. I didn't mean to ignore you. Something came up. Explain to them what happened. He said, with me, I'm an open book. My family, I'll keep it real. Hey, this is what happened. I'm sorry I couldn't get to it. I tell them, I understand you're disappointed. And I'm going to follow back and follow up with you. I'm going to make it right. Very simple apologies that we can utilize that's effective. Another one, embarrassing them in public, whether it's correcting them harshly in front of people, in front of family, whether you're at a school, whether you're at a store, whether you're at church. The best practice is to isolate them. If you're upset, something happened, you can't blow the top off. You got to keep your cool, intellect over emotions, I over E, isolate them, and then have that discussion. Hey, I remember those times. I know y'all remember. In church, let's take it to church. I'm in there probably doing something I ain't supposed to do. Get slapped in the back of the head, pap, and all you get is a teardrop coming down. Hey, grandma, there. That's how grandma parent. But you just wanted to curl up under that pew and just forget life because you were embarrassed. So we have to remember those moments. It's funny how those moments that we were embarrassed, we're so quick to give to our kids and be like, oh, it is what it is. But simple fix. Hey, I'm sorry I spoke to you that way. Because it happens. We're not perfect. We're not perfect parents. It's going to happen. We're not perfect mentors. I'm sorry I spoke to you that way. And I'm definitely going to handle that differently next time. Very simple. We have to apologize. Dismissing their feelings quickly is another one. Oh, it's no big deal. Stop crying. I mean, do we really know if our kids or our mentees, if they're really hurting? We don't know that. And you still have to acknowledge that as parents. We have to acknowledge our kids being hurt or their feelings and maybe something that happened. But what we can do is follow it up with positive reinforcement. I know something I do with my youngest, and he's, like I said, he's Captain Danger. He's always falling, especially in his games, scraping up something, or he'll come back and, hey, Dad, look, I hurt myself. And I let him know, hey, you okay, you good? It's a little bruise. And then my saying is, you tough, right? And he'd be like, yeah, I'm tough, Daddy. I'm tough. So that's positive reinforcement. Just let him know, hey, I see you, but you tough, right? And he acknowledges, yeah. So that's something that we have to realize that our kids go through and something that they're feeling. So we can't just be dismissive of their feelings. So just let them know, hey, yeah, I see you. You all right? But a lot of times, think about how many times we blow them off in their feelings and we say, oh, you tough, you just handle it or get up. They want to be seen. They want to be heard. So we have to realize that that's important. Again, I'm learning. This parent thing, it never stops. We're just learning. Another important one, comparing your kid to other siblings or other family members, whether it's nieces, nephews, other cousins, saying little things like, why can't you be more like your brother or your cousin or your other siblings? And then you start to set that different treatment from the siblings as well, which is not a good thing. And even mentees, when you're mentoring, you have to give everybody the same treatment. Even though you may have a kid that's your go-to or that's somebody that you like, it's a sharp kid, I like him, he's very respectful. You still have to play it even and play it across the board. Very important because the differential treatment can wound the confidence of the kid, or the mentee. So we have to make sure that we pay attention to those things. And it happens all the time. I remember when Bryce was born, eldest was 11, And he was sad. And I'm like, man, you not happy you finna have a baby brother? And he told me, I got it out of him. It took me a minute. He essentially, in so many words, told me, I'm having a little brother and you're gonna forget about me. I'm like, what? But again, I would have never known. And that was important because I'm like, son, you my first son. You always gonna be star in my eyes, man. And I need you to lead by example. Now I just need you to be a partner. If something ever happened to me, this is gonna be your role and your duty. And I think he's starting to see that now that he's older. But think about how many times you have a younger kid that come into the household, and the aunties is notorious for it, and we've all been notorious for it. Aunties, the grandparents, they'll skip right past the oldest kid and go right to the youngest, the newborn or the baby. And I get it. The babies, they the baby of the family. They gonna get spoiled rotten. But y'all, we can't forget about the other kids that's there. So I always make it a point to acknowledge all of the kids. I check on all of the kids the same. Yes, that young kid may get a little bit more attention, but think about that. How many times we dismiss that the older sibling, because it's a new kid that's born to the family. And we got to stop doing that, y'all. Everybody deserves, the right amount of treatment and the right of love and to be seen and be heard. I'm just putting a little shine on it, on what happens, because I see it all the time. And I've done it before. And I realize that just because they older don't mean they want to love, they want attention, they want to be seen. And at times we forget that. We don't really acknowledge it as well. But the simple fix is, I'm sorry. I know that you're your own person, and I recognize that. And let them know, yes, you older sibling, you're a young adult, but I see you. I depend on you. I tell my son all the time, man, you big bro to your little brother, and he needs you. That's why he's probably the basketball player he's now, because he's seen me coaching you, seen me cheering for you, and he like, man, I want that attention as well. So I have to let him know, elder, the sibling, that you have to do your part as well. But sometimes our kids forget. Choosing discipline without hearing them out. We touched on this briefly earlier in the vlog, but punishing them too quickly sometimes without the explanation. Remember, there's three sides of every story: state side, the other side, and there's the truth. But depending on what the situation is in the incident, you guys hear me say it before, being curious instead of furious. We have to understand that at times, we have to be curious. We have to ask questions. And a lot of times we don't. Sorry, I didn't get a chance to explain. Simple fix that can go far. We're just discussing apologies and ways we can apologize for some of the things as parents that we may forget, or that we may dismiss. Don't let your pride delay the repair. Our egos get in the way at times, and we have to realize, what if something happens? And that's my fear. I get mad at my son, or even with family members, and or our mentees, of course, that we mentor, and we delayed to apologize if something happens. We ain't nothing promised. Anything can happen. I'm just being realistic here. I'm a realist, being realistic, and we let that time get away. Every moment ain't the time to apologize, but letting it fester, letting it go on, we got to do better on tightening up that space so we can make that apology. And me, I like to get stuff off anyway. I like to get it off my chest and be done with it. I'm not the person that'd like to sit in a room knowing I got some issue with somebody, just letting it build up. Either we rocking or we not. It's a simple apology. Sorry, I should have apologized. I shouldn't let that sit between us. And we do it as parents. We do it a lot. We'll be mad and we don't want to discuss something, so we let it build up or we let it fester. We have to be the adults and let them know, look, I'm sorry, I should have apologized earlier. I shouldn't have let that sit between us, because, we're bigger than that. Just some things, ways to apologize, different ways as parents to how we can make it right. Now we'll discuss some different ways to approach it, different methods. Roadmaps, as a parent, I've learned we don't use our intellect over our emotions. And sometimes we let our emotions lead over intellect. always a bad situation when that happens, of course. So we have to reassure and repair. Another one, be specific when you articulate what you did. Sometimes our kids just don't know. And sometimes we got to realize they're green. They just don't know. And trust me, I've learned that as a parent. You'll get at them and then you think about it like, well, maybe they didn't know. And then you hear their side of the story. It's like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. So sometimes we have to be specific and articulating what they did and actually what you did as well. They're kids, they don't really have life experience, so we have to make sure we bridge that gap. Acknowledge the impact. They may have hurt your feelings. I've told my son a few times, the times he's hurt my feelings, man, you hurt my feelings on that. Because again, they think we're parents, they think we're Teflon sometimes, and they don't think nothing phases. But we have to let them know as well. Hey, you hurt my feelings on that. And I've seen it's been times my son has been vulnerable with me and he's told me, well, Dad, I didn't mean that. Or we've shed a few tears together. And it's important. Apologizing in a calm moment. Like I said, a lot of times you don't have to just get right to it. If you need time in that space when you're calm and more cool and collective, get that time in that space because you want to be more rational when you apologize. And again, using the formula of life, I over E, your intellect over emotions. You cannot make rational decisions if you're upset. And as a parent, we've gone there. I know I've been there plenty of times, plenty. And sometimes it is safe to be like, you know what, not right now. Let me cool off a little bit. Don't let it wait too long. It's a time and a place, of course, and you got to be in the right mindset. Repair relationship, not the moment. Asking them if they okay. Are you okay? So they feel heard. So repair the relationship, which is important. That relationship is the most important thing and not the moment. Also letting them respond. Let the kids respond. Give them space to talk and be quiet. Another major thing that I can tell you right now, I'm not good. When I'm mad with my kids, I fly off the handle. It's been difficult for me sometimes to let them get words out. We have to give them the space to talk. And a lot of times when I have shut my mouth and listened, it actually made sense. Now I kind of see why he made the decision he made or he did what he did. I'm like, oh, okay. So now instead of just talking, giving my perspective, asking him, being curious and not furious, hey, why did you do that? And then listening, not talking. And as soon as he started, well, we X, Y, and Z. So that's something I'm still working on as a parent. I'm not even going to hold y'all. I'm still working on that as a parent. So, but very important. We talked about it. Apologizing in privacy, isolate, because nobody likes to be fronted out in front of people, in front of the masses, and they don't want to be embarrassed. So apologize in privacy. There's nothing wrong with that. We have to apologize in privacy, away from our kids. Because soon as I have a conversation, the kids know, especially my young. As soon as I have with my oldest, here come my little one. He just being nosy, and I have to tell him, "Hey, man, beat it. Take a hike. Hey, Dad, is brother in trouble?" He asks questions like that. So, a lot of times we have to let them save face and isolate that situation and just have that discussion. Better too with my youngest as well. I see sometimes he don't like to be embarrassed in front of his brother, and at times I do have to isolate him as well. Keeping a soft tone. Another thing that I'm very passionate about things, especially when it comes to my kids, and we all are, we have to use a softer tone. I'm learning that now to relax, woosah, take a deep breath. And I've struggled with this and I still struggle with it. Just to have better rationale when you're at a calmer, softer tone, you're having a better rationale with your kid and your loved one. And it's much needed, y'all. It's much needed. Because a lot of times when you're just yapping, and they're already checked out, when you're at a high tone, they're already checked out. So something we got to remember. We have to remember that as parents. Lastly, you got to own it. We have to own it as parents. Sometimes we make mistakes. We have to own it and apologize. And that's what this vlog is all about, is owning it, apologizing. And the apology is for the trust. Like I said, it's some things now I'm learning. I told my son, my eldest, my youngest, we not at that stage yet. Well, he'd understand at least. I've told my eldest son some things. I know he's like, man, I can't believe dad told me that. But I'm trying to build that trust, continue building that trust with him. And I want him to trust me and let him know I'm not a perfect parent. Just like he's not a perfect son, he's going to make mistakes. And I want him to be able to come to me and discuss these things when he say, you know what? I made a mistake. I got to talk to dad. And that's the most important thing that we can do. I got to talk to my parent, my mom, my dad. Those are some of the most important things that we can do as parents is keep building that trust. We want to continue to build the trust. It's like to end with a quote. Children, they don't need perfect parents. They need honest ones. And lastly, the quote I love as well is don't hide behind your pride. We do that a lot. Very prideful parents, we all are. And sometimes that can be our downfall. And we have to make sure we understand that as well. So apology, we're human. We're going to make mistakes, very needed. Hey, it's been real, y'all. Please share with anyone y'all feel who may need this. Share the YouTube channel. Lots of information, great parenting tips. Let's grow together. See you on the next one. Peace.